All right, welcome back to Barbecue My Way. If you've got 3-4 hours on a Saturday, maybe it's raining outside, give this a try. This is an authentic meat Bolognese sauce. All right, let's get started. I'm by myself today, so the camera work will not be that amazing, but who cares, right? We're just cooking. So we've got a Dutch oven here that we've got it, we're going to get it to medium-high heat. We're going to use basically about 1.5 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and we are going to use roughly 4 tablespoons of butter. Now I'm using, or this recipe and the ingredients and the amounts are below the video, but I'm working with basically just shy of 1.5 pounds of beef. And with the beef, it's very important that you not go extra lean. You want probably 75-25% approximately. So we're going to let this butter melt down and be right back. All right, butter and the oil's pretty much heated up. We're going to add, starting off with onion. We've chopped up roughly 1.25 cups of white onion, or Vidalia onion would work as well. And we're going to just saute these for a bit until they become translucent, roughly 2 minutes or so. All right, it's been 2-3 minutes, starting to get translucent. We're going to add about 1.5 cups or so of chopped celery and 1.5 cups of chopped carrot. And let those dance around in there a little bit for a couple minutes or so. All right, now we're adding the beef. Again, make sure it's not real lean. You want 25% fat, really provides the sweetness, some of the sweetness of the ragu. So we're going to add this. And then a pretty big heaping scoop of salt. And you actually add it now. You want it to kind of pull out or sweat out some of those juices. And then a pretty healthy grinding of pepper. And we're gonna crumble this up and cook this down until there's no raw coloring to the meat. All right, we're cooked down, all the rawness is gone. And this is the part when people come over and they see us make this, they're like, what? What the heck are you putting in now? Well, whole milk. For this amount of beef, ground beef, roughly 1 cup and 1.5 cups-ish. So now we're going to turn this down so we don't scald the milk, a little bit below medium. And we're going to cook away here at kind of a nice gentle boil. Bring it back up to heat until, believe it or not, the milk, like magic, disappears. And I'll show you what that looks like. You got to stay with it and stir it the entire time though. All right, so as you can tell, the milk has basically disappeared. And that took over medium heat and really staying with it so nothing burned. That was probably a good half-hour process. So you can kind of see why this takes some time and patience, but it's fun. And the end product is just so good. All right, so now we've got some dry white wine we're adding. And for this amount of beef, we're doing roughly about 1 cup and 2/3. So we pour this in, and now we do the same thing. We are going to cook this down until there is no longer any wine there. And we add a little sprinkling of nutmeg, roughly a little less than 1/4 teaspoon. Normally we use the nutmeg that that's the whole nutmeg that we use one of those things and scrape it off, but unfortunately we got here and we were out of that, so we have to resort to the nutmeg that's already grinded up for us. All right, so pretty much all the wine has now evaporated. We've been over medium heat stirring this. And now the last thing that we're going to add are the canned tomatoes. Ideally, what we'd like to do is Italian plum tomatoes. They're imported Italian plum tomatoes, but we couldn't find any. So we just use normal canned tomatoes. Roughly for this amount of beef, we're doing about 2 1/4 cups, which is a can and then maybe a half of another can, roughly. And juices and all, and you want to make sure the tomatoes are all cut up and they'll break down as you cook it. So this is really the last ingredient except for salting at the end, just flavoring for salt. So we're going to turn this down to where it's a very low, barely any sort of action at all, barely any boiling, just occasionally you'll see a bubble pop up, and we're going to let it sit like this uncovered for at least 2.5 to 3 hours. Longer is even better. And if it gets to the point where it gets too dry, you just add a little water, 1/4 cup or so of water. But when it's time to serve it, you do not want any water to it at all. It should be a very rich Bolognese or ragu sauce. So we'll kind of update you as the cooking process goes along. All right, we're about 1.5 to 2 hours into the slow cooking process, and this is what it looks like now. If you'll notice, there's very little fluids, and it'll be even a little drier than this. But what I wanted to do for you is, I haven't tested it yet. I've had Liz test it and my kids test it, and they say it's ridiculously, unbelievably good. So I'm going to try to describe it to you here. Oh my. The meat becomes so tender. I mean, I know ground beef by definition tends to be tender, but it's almost melt in your mouth tender, and there's a sweetness to it from the wine and the carrots and the onion, and the milk just adds kind of a richness to it that's just, it's just delicious. You really need to give this a try sometime. We're serving it on spaghetti today with some just shredded Parmesan cheese, along with a clam sauce, and then we're doing a butter Mizithra as well, kind of a trio, kind of like they do at the Spaghetti Factory. So thanks for joining us. See you later. No facials now, because I'm the only person here, but I'll take some pictures of the end product on the homemade pasta that I'm going to make. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day, and give this a try when you have a nice Saturday to work on it.